What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 85 of Lobbing Scorchers. This is Ari Lillianwall and Noah. We have a bit of a tilting draw pod to lay down tonight. How are you feeling?
I feel fine, Ari. You know, I think this game, it broke a lot of people, but I was not one of them.
I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's a 2-2 draw versus Charlotte FC. Should have been a 2-1 win, but it's a 2-2 draw. We're going to break that down, every single goal that got scored in that match and the broader takeaways that we have from it. We're going to hit our agenda check. We're going to talk about the rest of the match day one slate in MLS. I think we're probably going to talk a little bit of Antigua Leg 2 coming up on Wednesday. So we got a jam-packed show. It's exciting to have the season off and running. I know I'm enjoying having the games back. Are you enjoying having the games back? It's nice.
I hated preseason, man. Talking about nothing got so boring.
I enjoyed preseason because the team was looking good, but I'm certainly glad to have the real games going. Having CCC going is great, and I'm not gonna let the ending of that game harsh my vibe too much of being, hype on the early season here and excited to get going. Before we get into all that, though, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. Noah, what's that link?
That's sounderatheart.com/LS.
Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our links helps support and grow this show. Do we have any new subs to thank this week?
Oh boy, Ari, do we? We got 5. We got 5 new supporters. We really?
Woo!
Looking so surprised. And we are on the push to 100 Sounder at Heart members. That's right. So this is the best time you could ever possibly want. Start of the season. Let's get to 100. Sounderatheart.com/LS. And also, we've been doing live shows. We're now putting those live shows, the audio from those, on the subscriber-only feed. That's the only place they are for the audio. So just another added bonus. But let's read these supporters.
Yeah.
We're getting that audio and supporting Seattle soccer coverage. Here they are: Matthew Montgomery, Philip Ahart, Spencer Waller, Alex Cummert, and Lucas Zevers.
If we mispronounce your name, always feel free to send Noah an email.
Yeah, send me an angry email. It's fine.
Thank you all so much for the new subscriptions. We really appreciate the support. Shout out to our sponsors, Haxan, Ferments, Podium Menswear, and Full Pull Wines.
Holding it down.
If you have yet to do so, like the video, sub to the YouTube. We passed 1,500 YouTube subs today, which I was happy to see that. And Lobbing Scorchers kickoff this morning with Nico Moreno was also well attended. We had a lot of people in the stream, really enjoying the live shows. I feel like we've got a good little routine going. I've gotten in the groove of it, the rhythm of it, and it's gonna be a great season. All right, let's do the draw pod. Should we just do it? Should we just do the draw pod?
Rip the Band-Aid off.
I mean, as annoying of the ending, as annoying an ending as this game had, I do think there was a lot of positives to take from this game. So we're going to talk about both the positives and the negatives, as we usually do on our game reviews. Let's do our lineup reaction to start. It was a little less rotated than I might have expected, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
It was just basically the only change was just Rothrock and Georgie.
So 2 starters, basically.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But with the short turnaround coming back from that long a road trip, I might have thought that it would be even more rotated. But I mean, it was notable that Jesus Ferreira and De La Vega didn't start or play very many minutes in this game. They both came on near the end, but it was only for brief cameos. And I do think that is with an eye towards leg 2 against Antigua. I think you'll see both of those players back in the starting 11. I'll be interested to see, with the aggregate lead that they do have, if they mix and match and rotate a little bit more than they did for this Charlotte game. But for this game, it was pretty much the same 11 except for Paul Rothrock and Georgie. So I was not totally sure on how that would function on such short rest coming off that long a road trip, but I think we got our answer pretty early. Let's do our goal breakdowns and key moments. First goal of this game, Jordan Morris, 19th minute.
Designated player Jordan Morris.
Designated player Jordan Morris with his first goal of the season. There was another secondary assist for Obed on this play. I believe that's his third across these first two competitive matches.
I think he's been involved in some way in every single one of the goals.
Yeah, and I'm a secondary assist truther. I believe that secondary assist. I believe in secondary assists. I think they're valid assists. So give Obed the hat trick of assists through these first two games, and a Georgie primary assist. This was really a nice goal. It was pretty unstoppable, honestly. I mean, once Obed found Georgie out on the right flank there, and he put the delivery in, and Jordan just got the redirect to it. That was nice. That was clean.
Yeah.
And I think as far as Georgie goes, he is showing end product over these first two games. He's got 2 assists himself, primary assists.
No joke.
In the first 2 games. So the Georgie hype train is not slowing down. I think the thing with him was he was very exciting and fun to watch, but maybe not necessarily.
We were waiting for that end product.
We were waiting
to come
for
together.
that end product so he could beat the Leo Chu allegations. I think he has to do it over a longer sample size than this, obviously.
For sure.
But showing consistent end product he would beat the Leo Chu allegations if he can do that. And he's just looked great these first 2 games, and it was great to see him and Jordan link up. And really at that point, I think we were all feeling pretty good. I thought there might be a drop off coming off the short turnaround and the trip back from Guatemala, but to me, those first 20 minutes looked pretty damn good, and they got rewarded for their goal inside the first 20 minutes.
Which I feel like is such a big change from last season, where I don't know, it's all a big change from last season. Let's be frank, anything in the attack is, but man, it just felt relenting in attack in that first 20 minutes, and they were controlling the hell out of that game.
They were, but Charlotte FC, credit to Charlotte FC. They fought back. They equalized in this game twice, actually. But the first time in the 35th minute, this was Adelson Malanda on the header off the corner kick. I think that was that Pep Biel or Abada?
Yeah, it was Pep Biel, I
Pep
believe.
Biel sent in the corner kick.
I did not know much about before this game. I knew he existed. That dude's good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
That dude's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I watched, we watched all the replays of every goal, but both scored and conceded. I watched this one a few times. I think Charlotte FC might have cooked here.
Yeah, this was an insanely good set piece.
It was a good goal. That was a good set piece. I can't even lie.
No, the whole setup was awesome.
And the delivery
was nice.
He put it right where, Fry, he got caught for sure. Some people were saying he could have punched it. I don't know. At the very least, that is they did a really good job of putting the keeper in a pretty impossible situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I racked my brain for all the ways that could have been prevented, and I struggled to find many, if any. And that is actually the polar opposites of the equalizer, which we're going to talk about as highly preventable. So they're two kind of different goals in that sense. But no, I mean, I think this was an example of a set piece goal that came against the run of play. And that's the value of set pieces right there. They showed it. They can get you back in a game that you're kind of struggling to find yourself in. And they schemed that one up well. And I think that's like a GG's though. That was just a good goal by them. A tip your cap for the people who are getting annoyed with the Lobbing Scorchers lingo. Seattle, to their credit, got the lead back on the other side of halftime. Jordan Morris again, DP Jordan Morris.
Striker's goal.
This time
Morris.
off an assist from DP Albert Rusnak. Great play by the two DPs here. Rusnak, this was a DP dime, I would say.
100%.
That was the vision and the weight on that pass. That looked like the Rusnak that we saw down the stretch last year. And obviously, you never like to see that for the brigade, but
Right.
for everyone else, that was great to see. And at that point, my mind was that it's not full on cruise control. You got to go try and get this third. But seeing as how Charlotte's only goal came on a set piece, and they really were not, to my eye, generating all that much outside of that, I was like, okay, just got to go get this third goal, dust this game, get a 3-1 win, and that'll be that. Like, I wasn't really until the very last possible second of this game, I was not really there. The last 2 minutes, I was not really thinking that Charlotte was going to tie it. How were you feeling after Jordan scored the go-ahead?
After Jordan scored the go-ahead, I was like, this is dusted. We might get another one. We might not. But I was like, there's no shot. Like this, they'll close this game out. Like it felt destined.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan's goal didn't count because it got deflected. Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I forgot to mention.
We're working on a spreadsheet of goals that count versus goals that don't count.
We're gonna get some good content out of this. There's been a lot of like the goals not counting stuff so far this season. I think it's because Seattle has scored a lot of goals so far, and that's undermining.
You gotta hit the copium.
That's undermining agendas out there. So I would imagine that's probably where that came from. But anyway, yeah. 2-1 lead. A lot of time left to go, but they controlled the game for the most part. They were looking good on offense. They scored multiple goals. I felt like they kept firing for the most part, really until the last like 10 or so minutes. And then I feel like that's where some people pointed out they might have gotten a little risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
The play that comes to mind that a lot of people pointed out was the counterattack where Rusnak had it. And it looked like he had a couple of runners and then pulled it back. People were getting on him for that. And I think, with hindsight, now that we know how the game ended, maybe you like to see him be a little more aggressive there. I can see what he's thinking, which is that when you're controlling a game to that degree, even if you're only up 1 goal, sometimes it's arguably not worth playing overly aggressive and exposing yourself to a potential counterattack. I'm sure he meant well. I think that was what was going through his head. But I definitely can see with the 1 goal lead how some people could have thought that he should have played that more aggressively.
They definitely felt like they were trying to change the game state in that final 20 minutes. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Though, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're looking forward towards another game. You know that if you can retain a little bit more gas in that tank, that's what you're gonna do. That's probably what they practiced. Is if we're up at the 75th, 80th minute, like let's just close out this game. So I mean, I don't know what. People. I did see people complaining about Albert not being. That's silly.
It's
to
a
me.
nitpick.
It's silly to me.
All right, let's talk about this equalizer. No, let's do this. This is going to be a fun one.
Can we even call this an equalizer? Can we just call this like a gift?
I said this. I said this morning on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff with Nico, and I fully acknowledge that this might be recency bias, but I think it's the worst. It's the worst goal the club's ever conceded. And if it's not the worst goal the club's ever conceded, it's in the top 2 to 3. Not in terms of stakes of the moment, the ones they gave up in the MLS Cup they lost or whatever. Yes, those are worse goals to concede. But in terms of just like the raw, like what happened on the sequence.
It was very MLS sequence. Like it was something some like MLS hater would post on Twitter and be like, look at this bot league,
exactly.
bro.
Or it reminded me of what Maxime Chanot did last year a little bit, but this goal was incredible. It was incredible.
It was bad.
It was good content for a neutral, but for Seattle it was quite bad.
There were audible groans in the press box.
Let's just well, I think we kind of I couldn't believe what I just saw. Like it felt like it came out of nowhere, but I will say,
coming off that, like you had that Jordan absolute banger goal with that amazing pass from Albert, where like everyone was just like, "Oh my god!" Like that's beautiful soccer. To spike and hit that high, and then crash back down to earth and be like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah. I will say, as soon as that guy took the ball off Jackson Reagan,
I felt that.
I think we were all like, "Oh no, there it is." This was a doozy from the CBs, and I feel like we can say that without it like taking jabs or anything, because these are two of the best CBs in the league right now, and I think it was easily the worst play of Jackson Reagan's career. I have a hard time imagining he will ever have a play like this again in his career, just because of like the statistical anomaly of it. And then Ymar, bless his heart, he was trying to clear it, but he ended up smashing it directly into his own net. Jackson Reagan whiffed the header and the back pass.
Yeah,
but that you rarely, if ever, see that happen to him. Once on a given play, one of those things, let alone both of those things. And that's really, I think that to me, when I look back on it, Noah, that's where it really all fell apart, was when he whiffed the header and the back pass back to back. Ymar, like Schmetz mentioned that it was partially on him too for not getting back to his spot in time to be able to better deal with that ball. I mean, I think it's at the point where that giveaway happens, it's a fire drill. It's just you're in chaos management mode, and you're trying to do whatever you can to get that ball out of there. The most frustrating thing about the highlight, though, is that if you watch where the ball was gonna go, if Ymar hadn't taken his leg out, the Charlotte runner was not gonna get there. In fact, Alex Roldan had that completely covered if it had either missed Yamar's leg or if he had just not stuck his leg out at all. I get why
he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. So I get why he did it, but it still just made it all the more tilting to watch it back when you're like, this did not need to happen. Right.
This did not need to happen.
And I think that's what broke a lot of people online, was like, they were freaking out about Jackson and Ymar and like, what? Oh, Yamar's had 2 awful games. I'm like, outside of this basically last ditch effort defending, where 9 times out of 10 you're clearing that ball and it's not going in the back of the net. Not even 9 times out of 10, like 19. How many times have you seen Ymar make a tackle like that, or a last ditch effort to clear the ball, and it goes wide or it goes above the net or whatever, right? Like, and somehow this one just happened to be an absolute banger in the back of our own net. Like, what are you going to do? That shit happens sometimes.
What are you going to do?
That's soccer, baby.
And, it's funny. I saw, I was watching the Top Bin 90 post-game reaction show, and a lot of Charlotte FC fans were talking about how their own goal equalizer like doesn't count.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Like this is what LAFC fans and some Sounders fans were trying to do in the playoffs last year. They were saying the Chanot own goal doesn't count.
Funny, dude.
I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand a lot about the deciding which goals do and don't count thing that people do and have been doing a lot so far this season.
Did you deserve the win or not?
But
right?
like, okay, first of all, when they were trying to do it with the Chanot thing, and this applies to Ymar too, like, how the hell are you going to have your center back bam the ball into their own goal, and you're going to make that someone else's problem? Like, oh, well, that's you got lucky. All right. I mean, you shouldn't have.
Damn right you did.
You shouldn't have bammed that into your own net. But the other thing is like, because those are actually pretty similar plays. Like you make your own luck by putting the ball in dangerous situations and putting the CB under pressure.
That's like, soccer.
That's like how you can get goals like that. And those I can tell you for a fact, they literally on the scoreboard, they do count.
They
don't.
As much as we both would have liked that goal to not count,
it counted. It counted.
They took a point home.
Yeah, they had one goal before
they had a good
own goal, and then when the own goal happened,
they
had
had 2.
Increased to 2.
Yeah.
So if you're arguing that the own goals don't count, which a lot of people are arguing, that is not.
You're wrong.
Accurate. That's just not.
That's just not true.
It's not true.
It doesn't work that way.
So,
guys, I think what you're thinking about is XG, Ari.
The
goals that aren't real versus RG, real goals.
This goal counted.
This was an RG.
This was an RG, and that's That is a 2-2 draw. Seattle settles for a point in a game where this was, every draw, it's either going to feel like a draw that feels like a win or a draw that feels like a loss.
Yep.
This is a draw that feels like a loss because, you have to dust that game. You have to dust that game. Other key moments, the big one that comes to mind to me, Noah, was this sequence in the 72nd. This was when Seattle was still they were looking sharp, I think, going for this third goal. And man, this would have been, imagine if they had scored this one. I mean, the one touching, the pinging the ball, interplay. It was Georgie to Albert to Obed for just a great look on goal. Obed gets it on target a little too close to Kalina, but it actually deflected off Kalina and it was rolling. It was just slow. I thought it was going in. It was
a good save.
It went, but he didn't have to reach like that far. It was a good save, but it wasn't like he had to go full extension. And it almost rolled in, but it didn't. If that goes in, I mean, then the last own goal doesn't matter, and that's sort of. That's why you push for the third goal and you never, you're playing with fire with the 1-goal lead. Stuff like that can happen. But the other best chance that Seattle had in this game that didn't go in was this 27th minute set piece where I think it was like a short corner to Rusnak. Do you remember this? Or from Rusnak to Georgie, back to Rusnak. Rusnak with a really nice dime to Yamar at the far post. He was offside.
Oh, yeah, he was off.
He was off on the play, but it was a really well designed and well executed set piece besides him being offside. But I liked to see that because this was one of the best set piece teams in the league, if not the best set piece team in the league last year. And I would like to see that continue into this year. And Albert Rusnak was a big part of that last year, obviously. And his delivery on that play was clean. Like,
it was.
I really, I was happy to see that because I felt like the set pieces against Antigua were not razor sharp yet, which first game, wouldn't necessarily expect them to be. So I was happy to see them scheme one up like that. That was a really good look.
Yeah, it was.
And also Nuhu got a yellow. He got a yellow card literally 58 seconds.
That was so funny
into the game.
I was like, oh God, what are we doing?
And I mean, yeah, like Rusnak was like arguing with the ref about. He's like, it's his first foul. Like you could read his lips. He's like, it's the first foul. But it's like, all right. If you put yourself in a situation where the ref is even considering the first minute, I've never seen the first minute yellow.
First minute yellow is
first minute
rare,
yellow
dude.
is sick.
That's super rare.
That's a good milestone.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Build
I've ever seen a first minute yellow. All right, let's do Lobbing Scorchers man of the match now that we've gotten through the recap. Do you want to go first or should I go first? Okay.
I wrote down mine. My man of the match is a little bit of a vindicating one because I hear so much shit on this player. And I guess I get it, but also at the same time, I'm very confused because he's a very serviceable player. He works his ass off. And this game was nonetheless, Alex rolled on. He is my Lobbing Scorchers man of the match. 90% completed passes. He had a shot on target. He was all over the field creating chances, closing people down. He created 3 chances. He won all of his tackles. He won all of his duels and won 3 of 4 aerial duels. I mean, that's as dominant of a game as you want from a wingback. And I'm sorry, man. I keep hearing this. Alex Roldan is ass. We need to switch him out for literally anyone. Put a college kid out there. I've heard the sentiments, man. You're wrong. This is a good player. This is a very good player. And I know that his shine is not going to get talked about because that's just like I don't even know if you're expected to do that. He had a lights out performance. And I think Christian did as well. But
I was gonna say I think Christian was equally good. I think that's a good shout. You brought the stats with that.
I brought the
good.
Stats.
You brought the stats.
Big stats guy over here.
I honestly without those stats, I don't think I would have realized that he had that good a game. But
I was noticing it the whole match, but I was like, I wonder how I can convey this. And they made these things, Ari. I had never heard of them before. But they're called statistics, and they do actually bear out
I'm
what
glad
they
you
did and
discovered
stuff.
these.
It's pretty sick. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, that's a good poll. Mine is Rusnak. I know that people are clinging to this one counterattack that he pulled back or whatever. I thought this was arguably his best game since he took over as the full-time 10.
Wow.
Like, I really thought he was that on point, that effective, that dangerous. The assist was great. His delivery on that set piece I was talking about was great. I thought he just looked on it, and really, he and Jordan both. I mean, they looked like designated players. Noah,
they did actually both look like designated players. I think you could probably give a shout to Jordan too, but obviously everyone else is going to get the shine on that.
Yeah. Jordan did have the 2 goals, so we should point that out. Really nice finish on the first one, and then the Kalina is a bad dude for almost saving that.
Yeah,
like when Jordan has gotten pretty. I feel like he's got this rep among some people as like he flubs a lot of breakaways. I feel like when I see him in that situation these days, dating back to last year at least, I feel pretty confident he's going to finish that. And also, did you notice how when he was running onto the ball from Rusnak, instead of trying to take a touch to set himself up and then shooting, he let it run and then just like first timed it, giving Kalina less time to close down on him. Kalina is insane. Probably I think he is the best goalkeeper in the league right now. I think you saw that in this game. And he's still got a hand to it and almost saved it. But I liked how Jordan took that shot as opposed to, I feel like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like in past years, the times where he has flubbed breakaways, it's because he's taken too extra of a touch. And that time he just let it rip and it went in. So.
I think that, like, even more important to that, because this was something that I noticed as well with that play, was the ball from Rusnak. It was like perfectly weighted to the point where when it comes to Jordan, it has enough like of a backspin to kind of just fall and roll at the same pace that he's running. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's like when you're playing a breakaway man like Jordan, playing that ball in, especially on wet, slick turf, like you kind of have to take a touch on it. And it just goes to show you how good Rusnak is to be able to anticipate that, be in sync with Jordan, and play legitimately the perfect ball. Like I noticed that too, but I think it has more to do with Albert than Jordan, but also Jordan acknowledging that like, whoa, this is a really fucking good ball.
Their chemistry has looked great so far. I mean, how many years did we watch Nico hit those through balls exactly like that for Jordan? I feel like Jordan and Albert got like closer to that level last year. Their chemistry was a lot better, but it's looked great so far in preseason in these first couple. I guess the Antigua game wasn't Jordan's best game, but it didn't end up mattering.
Yeah, but he was being like a serviceable workhorse. He was not being
yeah, because people were getting on him for like ghosting that game or whatever. If you watch the Areola goal, the reason that space opened up is because Jordan carried the center back. Yeah, like go watch it again if you haven't seen the highlight. That goal, that goal arguably doesn't happen unless he is carrying that CB like with the decoy run.
100%. And I think this goes to prove what we were talking about last season with like the reasons why you would re-sign Albert is, how do you integrate someone in his position to get that chemistry ready and going from the jump, from February? You play games in February. What do you think someone's going to get integrated in 3 weeks? No, it's not going to happen.
And you have to think about that when you're arguing that like passionately that they should have moved off him or that he needs to be
Which we even
replaced.
made arguments about that. But it was like we were also acknowledging there's a world in which keeping him makes the most sense. Yeah. Even if you can upgrade, quote unquote.
And I think, at least speaking for myself, my take on the whole Rusnak debate has evolved. You're right. Like last year, we did echo a lot of the sentiments that he was good, not great, right? Like more of a TAM player than a DP.
There were times where that was true.
That's what it looked like the trajectory was for the first part of last year. But I'll happily take that L. Like he proved us wrong. Like he played like a DP, produced like a DP, got signed as a DP, and I love how he's looking so far. Let's do positives and negatives. Did you like that from the last
I
one?
did.
thought
I
that
enjoyed
was
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna try that.
Dubs and L's. Maybe
I'll come
we
up
should
with
rename this Dubs and L's.
Dubs and L's for the. We had a commenter who said that they can't listen to us anymore, guys, because we say dub pod too much. Which, I mean, to that commenter, I'm sorry that you don't like the Lobbing Scorchers language, but we are absolutely not, under any circumstances that I could possibly fathom, going to stop saying that.
Yeah.
There's just no way. You need to not listen to our show.
You give these commenters an inch and they take a mile, Ari. What are your dubs?
Okay. Positives, dubs. This is my biggest one, Noah. This is my biggest one. They're fun to watch. That game was fun to watch. It was entertaining. Like how many those shows that I was talking about last year that when this offense was really struggling, how many times did we say set the results aside, just be entertaining?
Yeah, just play fun soccer.
Yeah, like that sequence I was talking about where Obed had that chance where they were pinging it around in the do that.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. Do that and kick it to the fast guys like Georgie and Jordan and let them run really fast and score goals and just be a fun, entertaining product to watch on the field. That's what I've been enjoying the most so far this season. I hope they sustain it. It's only been 2 games, but as tilting as the ending was, I really enjoyed watching that game. I thought it was a fun game to watch. I was locked in and they were playing really well. So
yeah, the crowd was into the game too.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's genuinely you can use as a little bit of a barometer of where they're at. The crowd was getting when you hear people getting really loud and getting really excited off these chances, it tells you that people are excited to watch this game, and it was exciting to watch. I think also people are feeling so down about this as well because it was a fun game to watch, because they had scored multiple goals.
They deserved the win,
because they felt like they deserved it. And maybe we can talk about this. Fuck it, I'm just gonna say it now. Jeremiah brought this up to me when we were walking back the light rail. He said, I don't think that fans enjoy losing by multiple 3-2 or tying 3-3 than a 1-0 loss or a 1-1
I've taken
draw.
issue with that talking point as well. It's about winning. It's about winning.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the Chicago Fire, a team that can score goals and look like a good attacking team and play fun soccer sometimes, but then can't stop leaking goals and loses most of their games 4-2 or 4-3. You don't want to be that. And I realize there's less extreme, there's middle ground there.
Right.
But I think just in principle, I take the 1-0 win over the 4-3 loss. I don't even know what we're debating with that.
Yeah. But I mean it's people would rather lose. People generally say that they would rather lose a game and have their team score multiple goals versus their team lose by 1 goal and it's or draw 0-0 or something. Jeremiah said that he disagrees. He thinks that it doesn't really matter either way. People are going to be tilted, which I tend to agree with. I don't know. It's just, I guess that's all to say. I think that's why people here, you watch a really exciting game and somehow it actually makes it worse. It somehow makes it worse.
It made that result feel worse, for sure, at least in the moment. And then I think after sleeping on it, I was able to kind of be like, all right, that was a good game.
I felt like I was taking crazy pills a little bit. I was like, this was not a bad result. This was a good game.
It was a bad result, but it was not a bad performance.
I didn't even think it was. I think it was I guess
a
you're
home
right.
draw in your home opener when you were leading in the 93rd is a bad result. There's no way around that. But it's the XG theory. It sounds like you're coming around to it. Performance as it pertains to results. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Definitely not the same thing.
It absolutely is. Oh my god, we're gonna do the XG debate.
XG is fake.
All it is an interpretation of performance compared to results, which is exactly the same thing that you're talking about.
I don't know what you're saying. That's not true.
My other positive. So I think we both agree at least that this was a really good attacking performance. We were happy with what we saw on offense. This was the first game of the season, so there's no frame of reference for this right now. But this was one of the better defensive teams in the league last year that Seattle was playing. There's not much of a reason to think that they're going to have a sustained drop off and be a super poor defensive team this year. They have the best goalkeeper in the league, who I think had his skills on full display. And if you just look at the statistics, this box score is exactly the type of box score that you want to see in a game where you're outplaying your opponent by a lot. Seattle almost 60-40'd the possession. The XG, shout out XG.
Not real.
The XG was 1.77, which is excellent.
Whatever
Total
that
shots
means.
at 18-7. Shots on target 7-1. Big chances 2-1. This is a big one. I think accurate passes. Seattle had 514, 88% completion rate to 356 for Charlotte, 84%. When you see a that big of a disparity in possession and like passing numbers, and then also an XG number that high, that pretty much shows that one team was clearly dominating the other. I think that was absolutely bared out by the eye test in this game. Sometimes they don't match. This time I feel like they did. So the fact that Seattle was able to put together numbers like that against a team that's as good on defense as this team, I don't think they're going to play very many teams this year that are better defensively than this team. The fact that they put up those numbers against this team, that has my attention. That has my attention. It was great to see. They got to sustain it, but that's good. That's how you want to play in a game like that. And that opposition was no joke, man. That's the thing. Like, they have some big boy CBs. They have that one midfielder who's like 6'5". Kalina is a beast. So I liked seeing them do what they did against this type of competition. You can't do it was like the goals don't count because it was against like so-and-so thing, because this team is good. They're great at defense. So that was good to see. Other positive, the DPs balled out. The Jordan Rusnak or the Morris Rusnak duo was cooking. 2 goals for Jordan, great assist for Albert, and Albert was my man of the match. So that was great to see. And then the last one I have is Georgie on the stat sheet.
Georgie.
Which end product from Georgie, like we were talking about, is that's great. That's great. He's looking really good so far. Negatives. I mean, obviously that last goal like just can't happen. Like, when you're that close to the final whistle, you got to dust the game. You got to dust the game. I know that's easy to say from the press box, but I think the guys on the team and Schmetzer, I know Schmetzer because of his post-game presser, would tell you that they need to dust that game. And I think we haven't talked about this as much, but I think the reason that it kind of conjured up so many negative feelings, and I can understand this, is that there were too many drop points at home last year. They had like 7 draws or something at home last year. They had a couple of 0-0s. So I think that I understand that it might have felt like kind of a continuation of the same thing that we saw
if you're
last
blind.
year. Well, okay, in the results. And insofar as the results was the same as some of those results. But I agree with what you were getting at, which that was what I was going to get at, which is that the people out there who are arguing like, oh, this was like deja vu of last year. I think Jeremiah's post-game column said, don't call it deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
This was nothing like last year at all, like even remotely. Like last year, the period of time we're talking about, they could not score multiple goals in a game.
They looked awful. They looked terrible.
Yeah, like they were not playing well, like in attack. They were playing good on defense, but like in attack, they were not good. Yeah. In this game, they were quite good in attack. So like, I don't know. I just thought the comparison that a lot of people were making, that like it's deja vu to last year, I thought that was insane. That this game literally reminded me of last year, not one iota.
I think people just want to hate. I really do. I think that there's a contingent of people who are just so tilted all the time, or like, I don't know, there's just some contrarian sect of people. This goes along with the brigade, but I'm just like, man, what what do you see in this game that makes you so concerned that you're like throwing a tantrum already 1 game into the season?
I can understand throwing a tantrum about the equalizer. I can't about the overall performance.
I don't even get that though.
It was a vibe.
It's a fluke goal.
But
like,
it was
that
a vibe.
happens in soccer.
It was a vibe killer. It was.
But like, if you look at that game and you say, okay, we gave away a corner, a beautiful played corner. Like, I'm watching that. I'm like, I'm not mad at that. What the hell? Like, that is actually beautiful set piece design and play. And, you know, how many times in a game is that going to happen? It's not often. That was beautiful. And then you have this fluke goal with your 2 best defenders. And, you know, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Things happen in sports. Like, results like this happen. And like the fact that people are already like, okay, it's game 1 and it's the same exact thing from last year, while also watching Jordan Morris score two of his better goals that I've ever seen him score. It's like, what are you talking about? Why are you so upset? Yeah. Why do you watch this team?
It's a good question.
I just it was bothering me so much, man. I'm like, this was not a bad result. This was not.
I agree with most of what you're saying. I guess what I would say is I'm not surprised, honestly, at how hot the emotions got, because that leveler. I mean, that sucks. The ending of that game sucked. It did. Like it
sucks to draw, but like, what is this game in the sphere of the 400 matches we're gonna play this season?
Right.
And what is this in the sphere of like what it actually tells you about the team, which the first 3 games in MLS are more about figuring out what the hell is going on than anything. If you look at the results around the league, there were 10 times worse results. There were games where you have San Jose is first in the West right now, folks. Should we just end the season right now and take all of those results as a indictment on what the teams are?
I'm gonna have to look at the San Jose goals that they scored and make sure that they all count. If there was any like there might have been like some deflections in there or own goals. I'm not sure I'm buying that. I haven't watched those highlights, so
just,
I'm not
you know
sure.
what? End the season now. Let the San Jose Earthquakes play the Columbus Crew. They're both in first. They're clearly the 2 best. They're clearly I know I'm going on this rant, but it's like, if you are so mad about this game that you're ready to make a decision on what this team is or isn't, like you're kind of just insane. You're dumb.
My last negative was just that I think you can ding them for not getting the 3rd goal.
That's fair.
If you get that 3rd goal, the game's over. Game's over. So
which
I don't know if it's about like the fact that they let up or anything, but just generally speaking, in that situation, if you get the 3rd, you don't put yourself in this situation where that concession drops you those points. Do you want to do your own positives and negatives, or should we hit agenda check?
I'll hit one more negative, I guess. I think I hate to say it, but I think there were a couple of players, maybe just one, who we love on this podcast who didn't shine the brightest in this match. I don't think Paul Rothrock had his best game, which just made me sad because, you know, it's our boy. But other than that, I'm not offended by this
I thought
game.
It wasn't the best Rothrock or Georgie game, honestly. I know Georgie
tallied the assist.
He had the assist. But other than that, I thought he had a couple other good moments, but Charlotte was much more equipped to deal with him than Antigua was. That's for 100%. Sure. Like he wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the Antigua game was freaking electric. You know? Yeah, like it wasn't like that.
And I was talking to Tim Foss, Sounded Heart contributor, about this too in the press box during this. I was like, the reason that this match is like feels like such a dark light on Paul Rothrock is like the sample size of Paul Rothrock is like, you put him out there, he scores.
Yeah.
But he's only played like what? He's played like 40 matches total? 44 matches, 11 goals. I mean, that's a crazy amount for a guy who's basically a backup.
Or was considered a backup. MLS Next Pro like fringe player. Yeah. No, like
and then I guess my positive is I actually think this team is good. So yeah.
Whoa there. Ooh, that's.
I don't think this
want to get too controversial.
sorry, guys. Sorry to say it.
All right, let's hit our agenda check. Looks like we got okay.
I'm working on some. I'm working some
it.
in as we've chatted.
People in the on Blue Sky in my mentions had the Georgie should start agenda, so let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
I mean, I feel like any agenda around a starting spot, like there's so many games and so much rotation right now, like everyone's going to be getting chances to start. But I guess I'll answer this in the spirit of the question, which is like he's one of the best 11 on this team, and in a first choice 11, he should be in there. I'm assuming that's the agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough for me to say that in a front four that has the Morris Rusnak duo, Jesus Ferreira, De La Vega, like all looking pretty damn good so far. But I think what I would say is the fact that he's made this like an actual credible discussion.
Yeah.
2 games into the year shows like what type of stuff he's on right now. Like he looks, he's my favorite player on the team to watch right now from a pure entertainment perspective.
Yeah, he is. I think if you're looking at the agenda, it was like I think it also took a little bit of a dive because De La Vega had an uptick. You know what I mean? Like that was when I was arguing for this agenda last season when De La Vega was effectively doing nothing. I was like, Georgie should be starting over him. Georgie should be starting over him. And now it's like, I think that took a hit. I think that he's still performing well, and I think that it's nice to be able to give him some run on these, different games in different situations where, Pedro's just not going to play every single game. I think the agenda's up, but I think it's still like middle level. Like if you got the thermometer, it's like right in the middle. Like we're hitting like 50 degrees, Not shorts weather yet.
I can agree with that. We have the Sounders defense is sus.
Oh yeah.
Agenda. Couple people were perpetuating that one. There have been some bad concessions so far, so I understand where the agenda comes from. The concession in Guatemala was not good. And then this own goal was just ridiculous. I don't think this agenda is going to have legs until it's 2 games, right? So we're
putting the pot on the stove.
That is too small a sample size to be declaring them sus yet. If we get 5, 6, 7 games into the season and that stuff is still happening, then this agenda will be a thing. But I'm not gonna call that off of 2 bad concessions early in the season when concessions like that are most likely to happen. So.
Yeah, I had rewritten what you had said too. Sounders no longer have the best defense agenda, but I think,
I was quoting someone, so.
Yeah, you were quoting someone. I had changed it for my own selfish reasons because I felt that was way more inflammatory. But I think the pot is on the stove, Ari. The pasta's sitting out. It's up to them to figure out if we're going to turn the burner on or off. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to perpetuate it, that's for sure, but I can see it. It's in the rearview mirror.
I said this to Nico this morning, but that own goal was just so ridiculous that I can't take it seriously as a source of outrage. Like that's how how crazy a sequence of events that was, and more than that, like how confident I am that that's not going to recur consistently. If that recurs consistently, honestly, this season will be entertaining in a not good way, but in a different way.
Yeah,
if they're doing stuff like that,
we're gonna be Inter Miami.
Like this team, if this team turns into like the 2019 to 2021 LA Galaxy, like we're literally like, or like the Chicago Fire of the last like 6 years.
It did remind me of a Chicago Fire.
It was a Chicago Fire moment. Like it was.
It really was.
That is, guys. That is. I'm telling you. That is literally what Chicago Fire fans, that's what happens to them every single
game.
Week. Every single week, and they lose the games. It's not to draw. They they do it and lose.
Yeah, they'll go up 3 goals.
So I just want you to picture the feeling that you had after Yamar put that in the back of his own net, and imagine that feeling every single game, except is to lose the game, not draw. And that is what it's like being a Chicago Fire fan. that's worse than what you all experienced in this game.
Learn some empathy.
Yeah. Empathize with our friends, the Chicago Fire. All right, Noah, you got your couple of agendas. What do you got?
My first agenda, Jordan Morris Golden Boot winner agenda? Question mark. Ari, Jordan Morris is leading the Golden Boot race right now with 2 goals. He may be tied with 7 other people, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm here to perpetuate this agenda because he is my number 9 and has been for a while.
Has, as Tim pointed out, he has more goals than Kevin Denke, who FC Cincinnati paid $16 million for. So I think what we can definitively, for a fact, conclude is that Jordan Morris is better than Kevin Denke.
Yeah. Will he win the Golden Boot?
That's my agenda.
Maybe.
It would be cool. Oh man, if he even made a run at it, that would be fun for us.
Yeah.
Because of how hot if he makes a run at Golden Boot, there's going to be a lot of people who had a lot to say about his contract, who I don't expect anyone will have the humility and integrity to retract their takes. But if he makes a run at the Golden Boot, they really should.
He'll never win the Golden Boot because he doesn't take penalties, but I do appreciate this agenda as just something that I will start purveying. And when he's dropping off the face of the list, then I will pretend like I never said anything like that.
That's fair.
My other agenda, Roldan is the best defensive mid in MLS agenda. Ooh.
This was actually a Doyle agenda that you're appropriating, but expand.
You're
expand.
right. I think that Christian Roldan is a monster. I think that he is, as always, an underrated player, making not that much money in the grand scheme of things. Could be a DP.
Compared to me, he is, but compared
to yeah. But I'm saying like he could be a DP realistically on another team.
Yeah.
And I think that this season he's going to show more than ever that he might just be a best 11 candidate.
He had so many great plays in this game. He had this one, so his like patented move where he shields guys off the ball and wins possession. He had one of the best ones of those I've ever seen, where the Charlotte FC guy was like trying to dribble and Christian just beat him to the spot where the ball was and just got him way out of there and just won the ball so easily. It was so satisfying to watch, and he's just so good at that. And then also the amount of running, like even I would say even more so since Nico left the team, like he has to do, if it was possible, like even more running than he did previously. And just when
it's even possible,
when someone gets caught up the field and there's ground to be covered, he's just hauling ass back to the other end of the field, like laying it all on the line for the team every single play. So I love this agenda, and I think if he keeps playing like this all year, this could be like I think he's looks like he's playing some of his best ball right now. Like
it really does.
It really does. Yeah,
it really does. And he's back into this defensive midfield position. He works so well with Obed, and
God, that double pivot is so nice.
It's so nice. It's just what a situation we're blessed with, Ari. I love both the Roldan brothers, but
obviously
Christian,
I'm looking forward to Obed getting sold from the standpoint of
$35 million
for $35 million, because that's going to be
numbers.
It's going to be great for his career, and it's going to be great for Craig Wives. But I am going to miss that double pivot. It's such a good double pivot.
It's so good, man.
All right. I'm going to move on to our next segment, which I've renamed. This is usually, we call it just questions. I've renamed it. It's called Pulse of the Streets. This is my crowdsourcing from Blue Sky.
Wait, will you give us like a car horn sound effect?
Me, or oh man, I just did the Roadrunner.
Yeah,
all right, I'm gonna leave it at that.
That was beautiful. Ari.
Pulse of the Streets. where I collect all your questions, takes, observations, and agendas on Blue Sky. Then we pick a handful. If I miss your question, take, observation, or agenda, don't stop submitting them. The reason I'm calling it Pulse of the Streets is because I like to just it's a vibe check. Like, I like to see how you all are feeling about the game that just took place, about the team in general. So follow me on Blue Sky because I quit Twitter, and jump in my mentions after every one of these games, and then maybe yours will end up on here.
At ari.lobbingscorchers.com on Blue Sky.
On Blue Sky.
This first pulse comes from Rory, whose heartbeat is beaten, and we are taking a stethoscope right in there. And Rory says, frustrating. At least we're fun to watch again.
Yeah, simple and short comment, but I wanted to include it because Rory was that is exactly what was going through my head at the end of the game when I was trying to it was copium. It was copium. I was sitting there and I was like, God, that freaking leveler is really upsetting. But God damn it, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was like, I enjoyed being at that sporting event.
That's why I feel like I'm such a freak, because I was not mad at the end of that game. Because I was like, that was good soccer, man.
Yeah,
that was good. Outside of a 1 minute span of time where I'm totally happy to Men in Black out of my brain, and two, not even that, 3 touches. Yeah,
I think it took me until the next morning to get there. You
got more passion than I do.
What I'm hoping is that, if this team is as good as we think and hope it can be this year, and they end up as Shield contenders, they're making runs at trophies and stuff, and winning as many games as we think they can, we will be able to look back on this and it'll be funny.
Yeah,
it will be funny.
It will.
I wouldn't describe it as funny right now because I do like the 2 points they dropped it's unfortunate. It is. But if that turns out to not matter, which I don't think it will, then I don't think I'm going to look back on that own goal positively, but I will. I mean, I already am kind of laughing at it. It was.
It's funny.
It looked like if I was a neutral watching that, I would think it was hilarious.
I'd be like, what are we doing?
I can't lie and say that I would not. So
yeah, I totally get that.
Anyway,
this next pulse, we're going into the operating room. I got to hook him up to pulsometer. I'm not a doctor. I'm a podcaster. Pashias says, very unfortunate series of 3 mistakes at the end. Do you think Jackson and Yamar were too complacent in that situation, or were they just tired and made a physical mistake? Also, Miami tied at home, but equalized in the end and were super happy. Fans cheering, etc. Same result for Seattle, but emotionally down and rather than up. Which type is more concerning for a home team?
Yeah, good questions here. Let's take the first one first. Too complacent in that situation, or were they just tired and made a physical mistake? I think it's the latter. I don't think it was complacency. I think those are the moments in the game where it's the hardest to be on it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's the most crucial to not let up, not have any lapses. And Jackson just had he had a bad moment. And I think it was, if I had to attribute it to something, it probably was fatigue. He was I don't want to bag on the guy too much. He was a Defender of the Year finalist last year, and he played all 90 minutes of both of these games, coming back on short rest. That was the literal last sequence of the game. It doesn't make it any less tilting, but I don't know. I have a hard time lighting him up too badly.
Yeah. Retweet.
Also,
repost.
Miami. So yeah, it's a good point. Miami, they got a red card 20 minutes into their game, and then had to get a last second goal to salvage a 2-2 draw versus NYC. Messi had the assist. It was some random kid that they signed who scored it. But yeah, it's just what it is the difference between a draw that feels like a loss and a draw that feels like a win. Miami was down a man and were about to lose at home. So they were, I think, more than happy to take that point. But with Seattle, it's just, I don't think either one is more or less concerning than the other. I think it's just the 2 types of draw.
I think that I would rather I don't know. I think they're both their draws. They're both draw pods, you know? It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
1 point.
But not all draws are created equal.
Yeah, it's true.
At least in terms of vibes.
It's true. This next one comes from Trevor. Wait, hold on. Trevor, give me your arm. I'm putting my fingers on the pulse of your
There you go.
your veins
better.
here. Trevor says, what was Rusnak thinking in the 80th-ish minute when he had Morris and I think Areola ahead of him on a breakaway against one defender, but decided to hold the ball and play it back?
Yeah, so this was the one we were talking about earlier, and several people brought up what Trevor brought up. I think what he was thinking is that being overly aggressive in this situation is arguably not as good an idea as chilling out, you know, because they were busting forward in that situation. And if Charlotte FC gets back on a counter right there, I think he was probably trying to guard against that. That is probably what he was trying to do. And I think the reason why it kind of looms large in hindsight is because they gave up that goal at the end. But I don't think he was. I don't think it's like he's being like too conservative. I think he was trying to. I think he's just trying to be smart.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is he was just trying to. I don't know. Ask him.
Yeah,
I don't know. Ask him. But like, I mean, the reality is, I think either he didn't think he was going to be able to play the ball incorrectly, or he thought, okay, we're spread too wide, we're way too open to the counterattack. I mean, he's a smart player. He understands what the scoreline is. He clearly doesn't want to draw the game. You know, but there's you kind of have to figure that out. Also, 80th minute, do you want to slow down the game? Does that make more sense to slow down the game? Because if you're confident that you can score, it's okay to slow down the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I'm not sure what he was thinking. Maybe we should get to training one of these days and really do some real investigative journalism. And this last one, JT, I don't have another. Do you have a pulse pun for me?
I don't. Yeah, we'll have to workshop.
We'll have to workshop these. But JT, who I also took into the operating room, but he's dead now. Unfortunately, I'm not a very good doctor. Did Obed Vargas's value increase or decrease this game?
$20 million.
$22 million. You've been saying 20, so it stayed the same. Is that what you're saying?
Well, actually, secondary assist. Yeah, $22 million.
Yeah, $22 million.
$22 million.
There we go.
All right, we're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be right back.
The Seattle Sounders brand new 2025 kit is here. Inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT.
Don't want to give money to the oligarchs, but love lobbing Scorchers? Do we have a deal for you? MLS Season Pass is back on Apple TV with access to every single MLS match, including Leagues Cup and the entire Audi MLS Cup playoffs with no blackouts. It's not just the games, you get total access to the pre- and post-match MLS 360 whip-around show in both English and Spanish, and get live look-ins and highlights from around the league, as well as full match replays and recaps. Now, you can support our show by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV to purchase your subscription and support our show.
lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV. Please, don't let the oligarchs win. Welcome back. Oh my God. Ari, weren't those ads so good?
Great ads.
Great ads. And if you skipped our ads, we know.
I feel like they're so good that people don't skip them.
Like I'm just saying, if you skipped them, you better rewind and go back and listen because we know and we're going to come for you. All right, Ari, we have a little bit of news to get to regarding, everyone's favorite team to the south of us, the United States national team. As you know, we're up north because we are Canada fans. The U.S. men's national team, they have released their CONCACAF Nations League shortlist. So this is like a 60 players who they might call up. I don't know. They're like, this is our vibes-based picks. How many will they actually call in? TBD. But I thought it was interesting. There were 3 players on this list, Ari. Jesus Ferreira, Jackson Reagan, and who would you think would be the third person? A man who is almost a villain to U.S. men's national team fans, Ari.
I mean, I know the answer, but go ahead and
Jordan Morris.
Jordan Morris on the short list. Wow.
Jordan Morris is on the short list for the national team.
That
once
rocks,
again.
honestly. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that because it brings the bots unhappiness, and that's a boon for us. So is the question here, could Jordan Morris be making it back into the rotation for the USMNT with the continuation of his current form?
I think so. Why not? I think we've both been arguing that like he should be at least in consideration.
Like, okay, obviously, like we're biased. I say this like slightly tongue in cheek, and I honestly don't really care about this issue. So you can flame us if you want for these takes, and I don't give a shit. But like he's a better striker than like pretty much, I mean, maybe, Ray Balogun over him. But like Pepe,
probably not.
Like Pepe, and who's even in the mix right now? Like Haji Wright or whatever. Like he's got more goals than those guys.
He plays against Central American opponents.
But that's like I think that's like the biggest joke of all the Jordan Morris USMNT discourse over the years, is that for however hot it's been, like if you just look at how he's played, like when he's gotten called in, he's done like pretty well. He's been pretty good. He's been a pretty good international striker. He has 11 goals and 55 caps, which isn't like amazing, but it's pretty good. And he's got a few assists. I know he at least has the 1 assist to Jesus Ferreira against Mexico. So like he's been literally among the more productive attackers of this last era that we've been talking about.
Literally saved the U.S. men's national team in World Cup qualifying as a college student. I'm sorry. What are we talking about, man? This is not only just silly. He is a top talent in Major League Soccer. He is a really good striker, and he's someone who understands and plays in CONCACAF matches. If you're going to play in CONCACAF Nations League, which I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you, what is that?
It's some tournament.
They're just making this shit up. There's just a new thing every day. But it's like, if you want someone to play against Trinidad and Tobago,
he's a better pick for a Nations League squad than Haji Wright. I'm out of the loop. I don't know who these guys are anymore. But
it's like, do you want your Italian players, your dudes playing in Italy to come in? I don't know. I just think he deserves a shot because he's been in really good form. And not even just that, he's now playing with Jesus Ferreira, who is a day in and day out player for this national team. Maybe he's not A1, but he's A2.
Oh, okay. Well, because like I'm honestly not sure what Ferreira's like USMNT stock is right now. Like I know that he was previously a staple, but I felt like part of the issue and maybe why he wanted to go to FC Dallas was he's like trying to get back into that mix. But I don't know. I said, I'm out of the loop.
23 games, 15 goals from Jesus Ferreira on the U.S. national team.
Right. And everyone says that they don't count because they came against the Caribbean or whatever. But then it's like, well, then why didn't everyone else score that much? Why is he the only one who scored that much? If it's that easy to do, why didn't others do it? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking.
I don't know. And I'll say this too. If you're a U.S. men's national team fan and you think, oh, I hate myself and my life and all I do is complain all the time. You saw, right? Greg Berhalter did not want to call Jordan Morris in. You hated Greg Berhalter. He did not want to call him in. And now you have your new guy. You have your guy, the guy who you wanted. If he calls in Jordan Morris,
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
You gonna say Poke doesn't know what he's doing?
Yeah, you gonna say Pochettino doesn't know what he's talking about? Because, I mean, I want I would like to be in that room.
That's kind of the funny thing is like the bots like aren't allowed to question Poke. So it's like, did you see how he called in the dude from CF Montreal who joined a men's league, punched a guy in the face, got kicked out of the men's league, and got his contract terminated by MLS.
And then played like dog.
And so I didn't even, that's all I knew of this guy. I didn't know he had U.S. eligibility. I didn't know anything really at all about him as a player. All I heard was that he joined a men's, which this story was insane.
Yep.
We didn't talk about this enough at the time. He literally, you can look this up. I'm not embellishing this at all. He joined a men's league in Montreal, or like a rec league, got in a fight on the field in the game, punched a guy in the face, got kicked out of the rec league. They found out who he was, told CF Montreal, and then his contract got terminated by MLS. That's all I knew of him or had heard of him. I never heard of him again after that. The next time I see this guy, Poke has called him in for the USMNT, and he's just out there running around. He did something that was like insanely bad.
I think he just made some really bad passes.
He just had one of the most horrible shifts I have ever seen, to the point where I was like, I don't know about this Poke thing. Like, it's probably a good hire. I don't know. But then I'm like, what is this? Like, we're calling in the men's league face puncher guy, like, who really has no pedigree. He's not rated well at all, as far as I can tell. Like, what is going on with this? And then he scored like an incredibly sick goal at the end of the game that I think it salvaged the optics of it a little bit. It really shouldn't have.
No.
It makes no sense that guy...
That goal doesn't count. If Jordan Morris's goal just don't count, that one sure as hell doesn't against the nobodies.
But also, like, I don't know. Far be it from me to question these things, but are we really to believe that the men's league face puncher guy is also like an elite talent who's going to be a needle mover at the international level? If you're trying to sell that, I just don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know if I'm buying that. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm buying that.
I just don't. Jordan Morris better than the face puncher guy.
Yes, like, come on.
2025.
Come on. Even the bots can admit that there's just no way the face puncher guy should be in the fold.
Yeah, what are we talking about? This brings me to my next question related to this. There's been a little bit of a kerfuffle between MLS and mainly, I will say, the Sounders and the U.S. men's national team. Jordan Morris on that list, Jesus Ferreira on that list, Jackson Reagan on the list. All of this in the throes of what is essentially the busiest season of all time for the Sounders. Do we think the Sounders are going to let any of their players go to Nation League?
I mean, I think if your players really want to go, you should let them go. Like, that is a big enough tournament where if they want to go play in it, I think you got to let them go play in it. Will they? I feel like Seattle over the years has, this Jackson Reagan situation notwithstanding, like, I feel like if a guy is really passionate about their aspirations at the international level, maybe there's been individual situations where they haven't let a guy go when they feel like their schedule has dictated it. But I feel like they would let him go.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. We'll see. I'm not super high on that they're going to let people go, but... That's I don't know.
It would be sick if they didn't.
I mean, I like I think the only person that realistically you would be like, okay, fine, is Jackson Reagan, just to build some more goodwill, because I think he wants to play on the national team, and you kind of held him out.
He was not happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Sounders kind of screwed him. I'm sorry. Like, you were arguing that it was the USMNT, and I mean, I don't really even think I had a take on it because I'm Canadian.
Well, we were clowning on U.S. soccer, which I think was merited, but I do think
the Sounders need to hold some of the bag.
They do hold some of the bag. Yeah.
That's enough USMNT punditry. We're Canadian fans.
We haven't gotten into USMNT punditry in a while. That was terrible. Let's not do that again. All right. Let's jump around the league. There is a lot of interesting results in match day one. So I got my winners and losers.
All right.
We're
back, baby.
We're back. Let's dive in to the rest of the results for match day one in MLS. For the winners, I decided to give a nod to Charlotte FC. respect to Charlotte FC.
It's a good team.
I think they're going to be a good ass team this year. They got a really good result, even if their fans think the own goal doesn't count or whatever. They got a banger result in that game. I think they're going to be good this year, and that's a GG's. That's a GG's.
That's a GG's.
Like that set piece was nice. Kalina is good. It was a good result. Next winner, the San Jose Earthquakes. 4-0 on RSL.
Top of the West.
Time will tell. Top of the Shield race.
Top of the Shield race.
Time will tell.
Someone take a screenshot.
Time will tell if this was indicative of San Jose being good or I mean, RSL, they might be just that bad.
They might just, we'll see next week.
They might be wooden spoon contending.
Yep.
But even like that doesn't, Quakes fans should not take the shine off that result at all. They bammed. They looked phenomenal. And
Bruce Arena
I think
bump is back.
Yeah, Bruce Arena is back. And I think the most interesting thing about it was they put up a 4 spot and Chicho and Joseph didn't even score. It was like the whole gang outside of those two guys. And apparently Christian Espinoza was going off. So the Quakes after wooden spooning and giving up 80 goals, you can't really start it off much better than they did. And then Atlanta United. They got a 3-2 win over CF Montreal, and they've been my pick to take a leap in the Eastern Conference. I think most people are pretty high on their offseason, but they got 2 goals from Latte Loth, so he's tied with Jordan Morris for the Golden Boot lead, and they only spent $22 million on him. So the Atlanta United rehabilitation project off to a good start. Noah, you got anyone for winners that I didn't mention?
No, I'm right there in agreement with you. I think it's so hard to pick winners on week 1, but the Quakes, man, that's an interesting one because I was a doubter, I will say. I've been a little bit confused as to why people were putting them up so high because it's like, how do you go from that bad?
Gap that they
dude, they gave up 100 goals.
Yeah.
Like what are we talking about? To now
and
league?
People I was kind of on the same page because people were like, oh, like what great business they pulled by getting Chicho Arango and Joseph Martinez. What a striker duo that could be. And I'm like, they literally gave up 80 goals.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have even thought about a striker until I just like did everything I could.
2
like,
DPCBs.
Seriously, man, like that. Like when you give up 80, like I don't know how you handle that. You have a lot of questions that you should be asking yourself that are existential beyond Major League Soccer. If you have a season where you give up 80,
yeah,
but like your absolute number one priority has to be not giving up 80 again.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if they had done enough to remedy that. And we'll see if they did.
It is also funny because the Quakes, none of their stars scored.
That's what I was saying.
It was a bunch of randos.
Yeah, like it was all their randos. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just tight. That's tight. Like some dude named Ricketts.
Yeah.
Not Tulsane or who's the other one?
Donovan.
It's a new Ricketts. New Ricketts has entered the chat. Jamar.
All right. You ready to do the losers? This is going to be fun.
I love the losers. This one, this up the top right here.
No.
I can see this document.
The Portland Timbies.
It gives me no joy to report, Ari.
I don't even know what to say. Like, obviously there's so much clowning that could be done, but it's like, I feel like it's almost
in bad taste.
I don't even know if it's bad taste. It's just like you don't even need to because it speaks for itself to such a profound degree.
Yeah.
I think we all knew that they were in a tough spot with their little Evander drama. They lost their best player and got the new guy in like 2 days before the season. So that was always probably going to be a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make a lot of changes to a team last year that scored a lot of goals, but was pretty erratic.
They enjoyed giving up a lot of goals too.
Yeah, they conceded a lot of goals. They lost to the Vancouver Whitecaps. Like, what was it? Like 5-0 or 6-0? 6-0.
6-0.
6-0. at home when they should have been on the road in the playoffs. That's why Evander got fed up and forced his way out of the club. So things were bad, is my point. They were already bad before this season opener, which they were coincidentally enough playing at home against the Vancouver Whitecaps again. And it did not go well.
No.
It did not go well.
4-1, a red card in the 11th minute.
And, like they were trying, like Phil Neves was trying to blame the red card after, like he was basically saying like, oh, well, the red card chalked it. Like it was this, whatever, you know, we'll get 11 back on the field next week and take it from there kind of sentiment. It was deeper than that.
It was
like in a season opener at home for that to be what you put out on the field.
That's,
like I said, like it's just, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I don't know what they. I don't know what they do about that.
I mean,
luckily, not my concern.
The Whitecaps in their last 2 meetings with Portland have now scored 9 goals on them. It's been 9-1.
They let Jaden Nelson put up 3 assists and a goal on them in this game.
Jaden
Nelson is not that. He could be good. He's not that good.
No, he was player of the match week.
They made him look like Messi. Like he looked like Jaden Nelson.
His foot mob ranking was like best player in the entire league.
Yeah,
and like potentially in the world.
Do we think that Jaden Nelson is the best player in the entire league? Probably
not. Could be.
Probably could be. Apparently, he might be. if
they get to play the Portland Timbers every week, absolutely.
I mean, we're gonna get to it in the Blazing Hot Presser, but Jesus Christ,
that was incredible.
The Chicago Fire are back. They're so back. God, I love the Chicago Fire. My favorite team in the league, besides Seattle, for different reasons.
The most entertaining team. Every year,
they're the best. They're the best.
They rock.
This first game of the Greg Berhalter era, they have been another one of those popular pit where everyone's like, "Oh, Berhalter's there. They made this move, this there." And I'm like,
we both were like,
Chicago Fire. They're a meme until proven otherwise. They went to Columbus. Took the lead twice, Noah. They did it twice. 1-0 and 2-1.
Patented, Ari.
Brian Gutierrez, their star homegrown, getting both goals. He was looking awesome. They gave up the lead both times, shockingly, and then ended up losing 4-2. They couldn't be more back.
They couldn't.
Like when Seattle played Chicago last year, I famously predicted exactly what was going to happen. I said they were going to score the first goal and then concede the equalizer. And people after it literally happened exactly like that, people were like, "Damn, that was pretty good." Like, how did you? It's because they do that. Like you don't need to predict anything. They do that every game.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. Like. They did it all like last year, pretty much every week. And then the first game of this year, I presume after an entire offseason of trying to like get out of that identity, they immediately do it again. Immediately.
It's incredible. They're so back. I just got to know, we talked about the USMNT earlier, and I mean, if you're a Greg hater, this is about the perfect place for him to be the head coach of.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how I think he can maybe make this better. I don't know. It seems like it's gotten to the point where that it's like in their DNA.
Yeah.
You know? And that's really hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need what Garth Lagerwey said they did in Atlanta. I think the term he used was like full-scale cultural overhaul.
Yeah, an exorcism, perhaps.
You need that.
Have they thought about bringing in a priest?
Like, we joke, but I don't know. At this point, I don't know how else they solve this. And then my last loser, Orlando City, laid an egg. They got blown out by the Philly Union at home. It was like 4-2 or something.
Have you heard anyone be like talking about the Union like they're any kind of contender?
No, like they were, if anything, probably picked to, they fired Jim C. They hired Bradley C.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know. I figure that's like a fine hire, but it wasn't like a knock it out of the park type of thing. So I didn't think they were going to be that good.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those situations where I don't know if they're that good or if Orlando's that bad. But I got Orlando in the losers for this week because when you take a result like that at home to start your season, it's not what you want.
Not a great look, folks. Not a great look.
And that is a good segue into our first blazing hot coach presser.
Let's try that again, Ari.
Okay. That is a good segue to our first blazing hot coach press conference of the week, sponsored by Haxan Ferments, by Haxan Ferments.
LobbingScorchers.com/HAXAN.
Exactly. Thank you, Noah. This week's blazing hot coach press conference of the week goes to our friend, Phil Neville. Phil Neves had to get on the podium after this absolute debacle at Providence Park.
Getting waxed.
In match day 1. Honestly, like the whole presser itself wasn't super, like he wasn't throwing a tantrum or calling players out, like screaming and yelling or anything like that, or belittling the ref. But I think his overall tone and demeanor warrants his selection for this week. We'll play a little bit of it for you right here. You can soak in the Phil Neves presser. Phil, take it away.
Can you just describe to me the emotion you're feeling right now about this game? Because it doesn't feel like fiery or angry. So I just want to know, like...
No, because I don't want to make excuses. I can come in here and I can say X, Y, Z about certain situations in the game, and but like I say, we'd worked really hard all season about being a really good defensive unit, about being compact shape, and one ball over the top cost us the game. And I say it cost us the game because they didn't score, but they're going down to 10 men cost us the game. So that's poor positioning, poor defending, not sticking to the game plan. So that for me is all I'm thinking at this moment in time, is how we can improve that, because we can't do anything, we can't control anything about what the referee does, we can't control anything about what the opposition do. We can control our own emotions and feelings, and my emotions and feelings tonight is that fundamentally that piece of defending for that instant that cost us the game and the first goal, that's not on the referee. We can say what we want about Victor, the referee. We can be here all night talking about how, about some of the decisions, but really at the end of the day, Victor didn't make that decision. Victor didn't stay with his run. Victor didn't make the pass for the first goal. So for me, I say control the things that we can control, and we can sit here and hide behind the referee, which probably in a season I will do, but that's not for today, because you know what, at the end of the day, even though I have real strong opinions on what I saw by the referee, we lost that game ourselves, not the referee.
We'll wrap it there. Thank you, Phil.
There you have it from the man himself, Phil Neville.
Friend of the pod.
Great start to the season for the Portland Timbies. Love to see it. All right, Noah, I think we can actually call it right there. I had a couple other things written down, but it was nothing important, and we've been at it for a while. So
yeah.
Why don't we just wrap her up right there for episode 85. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. We really appreciate the support. We've seen a lot of growth, Noah, over the last just even 2 weeks, I would say. Our YouTube has gotten a lot bigger. Our download numbers are doing great. So glad you all are enjoying the content, enjoying the show. We're excited to keep making it. Like, comment, subscribe, write us reviews.
Yeah, we need some more reviews. I think that's our new hot button issue is
go write us some reviews.
Write us a poem. If you write us a poem in the reviews, we'll read it on pod.
Sub to the YouTube. Follow the Instagram, please. The Instagram credibility has gone up, but now it's like plateaued. We need more hype on IG. I think that's it. We're gonna get out of here on that. I'll be back at it for Under the Lights live show Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Don't miss that.
We'll also have another pod midweek. Let's do a pod midweek.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. Why not? Until then, we out.
Peace.